getting our epoxy primer ready for our bed on our J10. And we got everything wiped down. We've got all the rust taken care of. All of the old Bondo and paint that was flaking off. We knocked all that off, so we're 100% ready for a primer now.
Today I'm patching some floorboards in this Jeep. I've got a couple little holes. The worst was in the driver's side, right where your feet go. There was a whole bunch of moisture down there, just rotted the floors out. So we've got a patch panel coming in for that. And we don't have a patch panel coming in for this rear section, so I just chopped this out of some sheet metal and we're gonna weld this sucker in. I destroyed your GoPro. Should I leave it or blow it off?
Blow it up.
Three and 3/4. I like to start just a little bit big with my floor pan patches and then just trim them down just little by little till they fit perfect. So close. Beautiful. Now I gotta drill holes.
Now that our bed is in epoxy, I'm gonna spray it down with this black spray paint just to give it what they call a guide coat. There's black powders that they sell that you rub on it, or you can just use black spray paint. That's what I've always used, it's cheap. And that's gonna tell me where my high spots and my low spots are whenever I start blocking this thing down for bodywork.
Now that we've got our initial blocking done on this J10 bed, it shows our high and low spots, so that'll tell us where exactly we need to put the mud. After we're done with the bodywork stage, it'll be a little bit more primer and then we'll be ready for paint.
So when we got this Jeep, first glance it looked pretty good. Like it looks super solid on the outside. Getting into it though, once we pulled out all the super grotty carpet, it was rusted right through the floor. A bunch of slices of Swiss cheese, essentially. I mean, if you stood on the brake too hard, you'd probably punch through and start hitting the steering column by accident or something like that. So for the past few days, I've been working on patching up all our rust holes in the floor.
What I'm currently doing is making a paper template for this floor pan that we're going to replace because it's rusted and crunchy as all heck. So I've marked where I want my bottom line to be. I folded it over so I have a nice and straight line to cut across. I might have to just tear it. And then from there, I'm going to keep trimming down and shaping the piece of paper. And then once that's kind of figured out, I'm gonna copy that onto a big sheet of metal, cut out the metal, and start matching to that. So when factory panels are installed or replacement panels are installed, they're not just welded at the very edges, at the seams. They also have what are called spot welds. And these are welds that go through a hole in the sheet metal and to either a brace or a flange or another piece of sheet metal underneath. So what I did is I took some measurements off the Jeep and traced where my bracing is and where my flanges are. And that way I could see it through the sheet metal, and then I marked different increments for where I wanted my spot welds to land, and I'm currently working on just drilling holes. That way when I go and I place the floor pan back in, I have these holes ready to drop a weld all the way through to the bracing and fuse it to this pan and just give it a lot more structural rigidity.
So now that we've got all this patched all in and welded all the way through, when you're going down the road, you won't feel any strange drafts or smells coming through the cab, which is super ideal. I'll probably roll the Jeep outside and get in here with a wire wheel, maybe some DAs, and just prep this entire floor to receive the coat of paint that we're going on it. We're probably going to prime it first, make sure all the rust is actually taken care of as we remove all this surface paint and surface rust. So a whole bunch more grinding, a whole bunch more sanding, maybe some wire wheeling, but it shouldn't be too bad, and we'll do it outside so we don't make a huge mess on all our shiny cars in here.
Dropped it. That would not be cool.
The reason we need to test fit the original tailgate back to the original bed is to make sure that all of the panel gaps line up.
Thickness-wise, I actually look really good over here.
This looks pretty far away.
Whenever you make big changes, such as like fenders being kind of pushed in and you have to pull and bend and move, just everything all around, the panel gaps might be different after we've made some of the repairs and changes.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, why does it not look like janky anymore like it did before? Remember when we were like had it on?
Yeah, it was like.
Well, it was like this.
Oh yeah. Maybe the hinges are better placed. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's all Logo's fault.
It's also my fault. It's better now.
True. Take it away.
So we have reached the point in our Jeep building process where we're starting to mock up some of the various parts we've been working on. We've been working on our hood, got that covered in primer, and a lot of the metal work done on it. I actually found that a lot of the core support got shoved off to the side. There was a bolt that was all bent, so I had to attach it to the forklift, ratchet straps, hammers, all that fun stuff, and pull it all back into alignment with the hood as my guide for that.
See how much straighter that is? Yeah. No, dude, I'm keen on that. That worked great.
Yeah, I was thinking now we just put the hood on there and see what that looks like. To see what that alignment is like, and if it's pretty good, maybe I'll keep working on these. I don't know if I want to try doing any more with this until the fender's off. I do want to pull this back down a little further because I know it's hiked up way higher than what that is.
Golly, man. Somebody just went to town and painted right over all that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
see all that? Like, it's like drill. That's like a wire wheel on a drill.
Yeah.
And somebody just
that's
painted right
more.
over it.
This thing will need worked a little bit. I like kind of needs like. Does this need pulled forward at all, or maybe this a little bit? But
I think it's just this.
yeah, I think I'm gonna grab it and twist. It's like at the chiropractor where you just like you find the 2 points and you're like.
All right. Good work.
Next is get the hood over here. Set it down on here so we can see what the gaps look like side to side. That way we know if we need to pull up this corner anymore. In order to make sure that the fenders are aligned, we're using the hood as kind of our straight edge. So we're putting the hood on it and we can kind of see where do our fenders sit.
It's almost like I did it myself. Looks so much better. Way to go. We made the right call on that. Absolutely.
To continue that process, I'm gonna do the same thing with our grill to act as our guide to make sure that our fenders and our core support is all where it should be, make sure it's not twisted or tweaked in any way. When I install this, it will tell me if my bolts aren't lining up, then clearly there's something out of place and I'll have to pull and push some more. So that's exactly what we're doing. We have a new one, we have an old one, and we'll go with whichever one fits the best in the end, depending on whether we try and restore the old one or mock up the new one and make the modifications necessary to make it fit.
Boys, it ain't looking good.
Yeah. I think that this new grill might be for a completely different generation. No, not feeling very hopeful about this. I mean, here's a bolt hole, and there's nothing to bolt it to. This is like the only one right here, this center one right there. That one would bolt. Okay, that's why we mock things up. I'm gonna take this back up.
Yeah, so at this point, we have figured out that the grill totally does not fit. It's completely incorrect. We'll just have to set that aside for now. I'm gonna have Chad kind of look into it, do a little bit of research, and we'll come back to it later. In the meantime, we're gonna start looking at fitting up this front bumper.
I'm fine. Ha, first try. You know, the funny part is that I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Come on, buddy.
Can you hold it still?
Yes, please. Something's gonna break. It's probably gonna be me. Something going on here? You don't speak of what just happened.
The first step to fitting up this J10 bumper is going to be removing the brackets from the old bumper. There's a good chance we'll need to reuse them on the new bumper in case it comes with different brackets. There's also the fact that this J10 was hit and damaged, and we kind of need our damaged brackets to go in our damaged frame in order for everything to fit and line up correctly.
I think that's welded.
Oh wait, are you gonna have to go at it from the back?
Yeah, from the other side, because this is a welded nut. I was just being really dumb and trying to spin a welded nut. But it looks exactly like a nut, and there's no indication that it's welded. Oh, this one? Spinning as well. Maybe this one will come out.
spinning.
Really?
Yeah. Calm down, low bro.
Be fine.
Deep breaths, deep breaths.
Okay. There's no way to grab onto these without just wrecking them. Maybe if... Serious. Eyes and ears because there's a possibility it explodes as always. Or that it just breaks off as it goes into the head. Nobody touched that. Actually, it's just gently warm. It's not hot. There we go. That's how that is. Go ahead and put these back in. Stick the nut on just to hold it in place.
I knew it was going to happen, yeah. I'm still so disappointed.
Okay. Let's go back to the table, take the rackets off. It is a sad moment in the Pike Customs Upper Bay 1, but not an unprecedented moment because we found out that our grill doesn't fit and our bumper doesn't fit. They're wrong. It's wrong. It's not right. This is kind of just the reality of building cars, and it's the ugly truth that nobody really wants to accept in this sort of business is that the aftermarket, the used market, it's hardly ever accurate. I won't say never. It usually takes 2, if not 3 tries to get the right part in. And even if you do get the right part, it often won't fit and will require modification. And that's across the board. It doesn't matter what part you're getting or from who you're getting it. If you're building custom cars, this is what you're gonna run into. It's rough out here, but we will make do. We'll track down a different bumper. We'll see if we can get our money back for this one. We will take what parts we have, we'll restore our old parts, we'll modify the parts that we get. We always find a solution and a way to do it, but this is the hurdles that you don't expect, but hurdles we'll overcome nonetheless. So back in the box this goes, because this is not its new home. This bumper remains an orphan. No J10 to raise it. As we recall, the other bumper did not fit.
I knew it was going to happen, yeah. I'm still so disappointed.
I believe Jeep made 2 different versions of their J10, or like a special edition called a wide track. And so the wheels are a little further out on each side. The fenders, the bumpers are a little wider in general. And so we had gotten a bumper that was standard edition style. Hopefully this is actually the wide track version, and it should fit around it. We might have to use our brackets because this looks like maybe a different mounting style. At first glance, it looks like it'll work. Let's go see. That gap right there, I'm gonna put some heat into it and beat it down. A little bit straighter, but this got tweaked outwards a little bit while I was doing that, so I just have to. It's a lot closer. All my holes line up, which they didn't before, so that's really good. However, I am seeing like this difference in gap here to here. Like this one's a closed gap, this one's an open gap. If I can get this hole to line up fine, I think it'll be all right anyways, because the fact that these two holes are in the right spots tells me that like this piece in and out is located properly, is located good. So this gap being here is just from the length of that bend, because it got like twisted way over and then I bent it back, but it didn't bend back at the same point, so now it bends back at a higher spot. So like this one comes up further, then bends over. This one bends over earlier because of the damage that happened when I re-bent it. It bent it further down the bracket rather than coming out the bracket then bending over, which is also why when I go like this, one of them sits a little bit taller than the other. But that's not going to change where the bracket sits within the bumper, and therefore it won't mess with the location of the bumper on the car. The only problem this would cause is with this bolt over here, because this bracket is slightly lifted off the bumper, it might not cinch properly, but I think once we get bolts on it, you just hold it in place. All right, and if not, we'll just bring it back and hit it some more.
Second time is a charm. The new J10 bumper that we got, that is the wide edition, it fits. It looks pretty good. I had to reuse the old brackets that we pulled off the original bumper in order for it to actually fit right. The new brackets didn't work, but it gets around the fenders, the extra wide fenders, and it looks like it's going to work great.
Let's move with it.
Whoa! Mama. Yeah.
That was fine.
That's a big one.